Hey guys, what am I doing? I am getting into my crochet mood. Whenever it gets cold out, I bring out the yarn. I don't know why, there's just something about making crochet projects or knitting projects when it actually starts to get cold. But today I have a tutorial for you guys, and it is this little project pouch. It is so cute. So basically, it is for when you're on the go, or you're sitting at the doctor's office, or just who knows what, wherever you want to go. And it has room for a ball of yarn, so the ball of yarn doesn't get, tossed onto the ground. And it has a little zipper pouch in the front. And I love to keep, other needles, maybe some snips, maybe a pom-pom maker. I have one of those in here too. But today we're going to learn how to make this really quick and easy bag. This is going to be a great gift idea for this holiday season if you have a lot of people in your life who make yarn things. Especially people who like to make little things. You can keep it all in this bag and then it just kind of hooks on your arm. So I will have this pattern available for you over at the Etsy shop, and the link is in the description. If you do make this, I would love to see it. So please come over to my Instagram and follow. I would love to see your bag and what you're working on. And if you do decide to gift these, I love to see it all. And if you have any questions, of course, you can message me over there or comment down below. So without further ado, let's get straight into the tutorial. Okay, so here's the pattern. It is a simple 4 pages. I just taped it together, and basically we're going to cut on the fold. That's what this arrow means. So I've already cut one, and I have my fabric. This is my lining. It's already on the fold, or already folded, and we're going to take the pattern piece and we're going to line up that edge with the fold, and I'm going to throw some pattern weights down, and then I'll go ahead and cut. Now if this bag is not the size that you would like, maybe you want it a little deeper, you can add length onto here. I would just take my ruler and line it up, maybe add 1 inch, 2 inches, whatever you want to do. But just make sure that if you do decide to make it bigger, you are going to do the same thing for the outer fabric as well. Okay, I have all of my pieces cut out. So we have a zipper. We have our 2 linings for our zipper pocket, and then we have 2 of our lining and then outer. We cut these on the fold so they will open up like this, and both of them are like this. So the first thing that we're going to work on is we're going to work on our little zipper pocket. We're going to put that on the outer fabric. And I went ahead and put some interfacing onto the back of this, depending on what fabric you're using. This is just a cotton. So I put just some light or medium weight interfacing. Fusible, I ironed it onto the back. Okay, so I will have all the information on what interfacing and all that stuff at the pattern as well. So if you're interested in using exactly what I use. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to place this onto the rectangle of my bag. What I'm doing is I'm going to be centering it perfectly on all 4 sides. So let's just pretend like that's the rectangle. That's where I want to have my zipper. I have my zipper already prepared. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my ruler and we're going to draw a rectangle. Now I'm going to put some pins in this so that it doesn't get away from me. You don't want things shifting around during this process because it will change things. Okay, so I'm going to use my ruler and I'm going to measure down from 1 inch from the top of this lining fabric. And we're going to do it 1 inch from the sides of this lining fabric. I'm using a friction pen. This friction pen actually disappears when you use heat. So these are pretty awesome. I'll have a link for these if you're interested. But the red ones and the blue ones do really well. So I'm just going to draw a line. So just in case this were to, you know, bleed through, once I apply my heat, then it'll disappear. Then we're going to make another line, a 1/2 inch down, and we're going to draw again. So we have an inch here and an inch there. And we're just going to put a couple little triangles there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to sew these lines here. And typically I would actually sew around all the way, but I've learned that it's actually, it lays better by just doing one line here and one line there, and then leaving this not sewn. So if you've, you know, done these pockets before and you've never seen that type, give it a try and let me know how it works out for you. Okay, so we're going to take it over to the sewing machine and we're going to go ahead and sew. So make sure that your zipper is longer than those stitch lines. We're going to end up having to cut a little bit off. Mine's a little too long, but that's okay. And yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to use my regular sewing machine and a regular sewing foot, and we're just going to sew, back stitching, going forward, following that line, get to the end, and then back stitch, and then I'm going to cut my threads, and I'm going to go back to the beginning of the second line, again back stitching, and then cut the threads. It's really important to have these nice and even because that is going to be obvious if those lines aren't perfectly parallel or even just, you know, as good as you can get them. It'll be like, it'll make your rectangle wonky where your zipper is nestled in. But now we're going to go back to the sewing table and we're going to cut this open. Okay, so sometimes I'll draw a line down the center just so that I know that I'm cutting in the exact right spot. And I put those little triangles and I'm just drawing a line from there to there. So I'm not going to cut right down here. I'm going to cut like 1/4 of an inch up. And I'll just remove my pin so I don't stab myself. So I just like to take the fabric, if you fold it in half, and then I just get it started just so that I don't screw up, and then open it up, and then we'll just cut along right to that triangle tip, and then we're going to cut into the corner, but we're not going to cut the threads, so it's going to look like that. So we're going to have a little triangle tab there, and I'm going to do it the other way. And like that. Okay, so from here we have it all opened up. We're going to take this and we're going to tuck it inside. So we're going to need to have our iron ready to go, and we'll go over to the ironing board Actually, no, we're gonna use the ironing board that's already here. I haven't used this ironing board in a while. Okay, the great thing about the cotton is that it really is beautiful to iron. It stays nice and crisp and makes this process really easy. When I'm making bags, if I'm using waterproof canvas, this is just like the worst step ever. Now we don't want any puckering in those corners. So we just kind of looks like a very nice window. Now a quick tip is that if you wanted this just to be a welt pocket, slip pocket, you could put the fabric right on the back and then that would be a little pocket just inside. So if you didn't have a zipper, you could totally just do that and then it would be a slip pocket. But we're going to put a zipper so that we don't lose any of our stitch markers or anything like that. So from here we're going to take the zipper, we're going to see which way it opens up, and I like to put the opening on the left side, and we're just going to place it like this. If you have any double-sided tape, then we could use that. Also some glue, a glue stick, people like to use that. I'm gonna see where my double-sided tape is. Okay, so I'm just gonna take the tape and I'm going to place it just like along there. This one's gonna be hard to, this is just a 1/8 inch double-sided tape, very thin. Now we just want to make sure that those little triangles are also tucked in there nicely, and they should be perfectly. When we go ahead to do our top stitch, those little triangles will be secured into place, never to be seen again. Alright, we're just pulling off the backing. It's not the best tape, I'll tell you that. Okay. 1. And 2. All right. So, again, we'll take our zipper and we'll just place that on top, and I'm going to flip it over just to make sure that it looks decent, kind of even. Actually, I like it this way. It doesn't really matter on this bag, but I just ripped all the tape off. That's okay. It's really just one of those things where you want it to hold it just so that you can sew it, and then if the tape wants to be dumb, then it can be dumb. Okay, that's good. So now we're going to go over the sewing machine and we're going to sew a nice rectangle all the way around. I just like to do it like 1/8 of an inch away from the edge of the fabric. As we approach our pull, I'm going to move it out of the way. And then I'm going to keep my needle in, pivot at the corner. So kind of go up like 1/8 of an inch past the rectangle and then go up. We're going to be going through the zipper teeth, and that's okay. And then again, pivot the fabric with the needle in. make sure this is nice and even. I do prefer to have my zipper zipped up when I'm doing this. Okay, and finish it off. Start by sewing. Just use like a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. If you're worried about the bottom of your bag, things poking it, scissors, just anything, you can do a 2nd row of stitching just on the bottom, and then that'll just, you know, help protect it from a hole busting through. And turn. If you wanted to just go back down here one more time. Sometimes just the weight of things inside of a pocket can loosen stitches over time, so having that extra strength definitely helps in the long run. Okay, so this is how it's going to look. Looks pretty good. So you can open it up and then you can see the nice, oh, that's upside down. Oh, that's okay. That's the things you have to think about when you have a directional fabric. But thankfully it's on the inside, so we're just going to pretend like that is perfect. So now we're going to go ahead and grab our lining fabric and we can actually start the construction of the bag. So what I'm going to do is going to lay this out flat, and then we're going to take the lining and we're going to place it on top and line it up nicely. If you need to give this an iron again, that's always a good idea. Okay. So now we're going to sew here and here only. So that's why we need to keep things lined up as best as we can. All right. So you can clip those. Clip it if you want to. But yeah, okay, so just here and only there. Okay, just gonna do like a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm gonna go around the curve, or maybe 3/8, I don't know. I'm not usually the most precise person. Okay, go all the way down. Lock our stitches. We did one side, now we're going to do the other side. Okay, perfect. Okay, so now we have all that sewn. Now with the little curves here, we're just gonna cut some notches into it. You're supposed to actually do triangles. And that's just gonna help to relieve the tension of the fabric so you get a nice curve, and you make sure you don't cut those stitches. Do the other side. I'm excited about this. This is going to be a perfect little pouch for just on the go, or you know, if you're just out somewhere, you want to go sew at the doctor's office and you don't want your ball of yarn to fall on the ground. This is so cute. So now we're going to flip it right sides out. I need to narrate. And we're going to go ahead and iron again the seams that we created. But you can kind of almost see how things are starting to take shape. Okay, so that is how it's going to look. So now we're going to finish it up, which is a matter of taking the right sides of the outer and the right sides of the lining, putting them together. We're going to get our clips and we're going to put our seams together. Try to make it nice and even. And we'll keep our ironing board out so that we can give it another press when we're done. But we're going to leave a hole in the lining of the bag. You could have left a hole here, I suppose. I didn't think of it. But just so you know, I'm just going to leave a little, like 4-inch hole, nothing crazy. So I'm going to go all the way around. Okay, so I'm going to start the lining. Turn. Now what I'm going to do with this is I actually am going to increase my seam allowance on the lining, and that's just going to help it lay nicely on the inside. It doesn't need to be a lot, but just because this is going to be on the inside of this, that it's gonna, it might not like be nice if it's the exact same seam allowance. Okay, and we left that hole right there. Okay, so now we're just going to flip the whole thing right sides out. If you want to cut your corners, also you can do that. Just gonna go inside, poke them out. I have made these with flannel on the inside as well, which is nice, especially since it's on your arm and it's nice and soft. So just keep that in mind. And this also could be reversible, as you can see. If you didn't put the, I mean, the zipper would be cool on the inside as well, but you know, you could do a seasonal bag and maybe the outside is Thanksgiving and the inside is Christmas, which would be fun. But yeah, that's how it's looking. So all I need to do is give it a good press. I'm going to sew up that lining hole, which I'm just going to do like a quick top stitch. I'm not going to do anything crazy because that is just how I roll. But you could of course do it by hand. Or yeah, your choice. Dealer's choice, as I say. You're right. So I'm just gonna press it one more time, and I'm just going to top stitch the opening here all the way around and all the way around. Just finish it off neatly and sew up that hole. Well, I must apologize. I thought I hit the record button when I did the top stitching. So, movie magic, I already did it. I did the lining. I just did a top stitch. And I did a nice top stitch around the handles. So we're just gonna put everything back to the way it was. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the one that I made with a lining. Sorry, I'm going to go ahead and show you that I made this one without a zipper pocket. So it's just a standard bag, but I used the nice flannel on the inside, so it's nice and soft on your arms. So you can do either or. I really love the addition of the zipper because then you can put things like your snips, your stitch markers, anything that you would need for knitting, crochet, whatever your favorite yarn craft is to do. So I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I do have the pattern for sale over at the my Etsy shop, so I'll have all the links in the description down below. It's not going to be a very expensive pattern, but there will be also a photographic PDF there for the instructions, so you can keep the, you know, that all in your records and stuff. I know a lot of people love to print out the instructions and just kind of have them in a binder, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I did that for you guys. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next tutorial. Bye guys.